So welcome to Bonnie's Designs. This is a live stream on Thursday with live peoples or having a natter in chat. I'm just going to go through the colour wheel again and my colour wheel and how I mix. And I found a sketchbook and it just says for drawing. It's only 135 GSM, but it will do a little bit of watercolour, and it was cheap and cheerful. And I thought it would be okay for colour mixing, for watercolour mixing. Best to do watercolour mixing because your colour mixing principle is the same for oil paint, for acrylics, if it's good quality. And you can only mix the colours. Different companies have different names, but you need to look at your colours and decide, is it a warm pinky red or is it a cold red? Is it a lemon yellow orange or is it a reddy orange? Is it a warm orangey yellow or is it a cold yellow, bright yellow? The greens, is it a yellowy green or is it a bluey green? Or is it a blue, cold blue, bright, or is it a bit purpley? Is it a warm blue? The purples, is it a bluey purple or is it a pinky purple? So you can look at all your colours purely on how they fit on a colour wheel. And it doesn't matter what the names are. It's how that colour fits in the colour wheel. So this is my favourite one. It doesn't have too many, but from these you can make thousands, if not millions of colours. But from these colours you can mix. I got 630 from 3 printer inks. And I made this colour wheel from 3 printer inks. So you could do this with watercolour, and I think you may do it with inks, but inks and very strong pigments they're not difficult, but you've got to practice to get them correct because they're very strong and they fight against each other. You wouldn't believe how strong this yellow was. It can outstrip the blue, and you would not think that because it's a lighter colour. But these 3 printer inks are very, very, very strong. And so the more expensive, the more pigment that's in the paint, whether it be oil, acrylic or watercolour, is going to be as strong as the pigment. It's the binder that makes it an oil, or it makes it a watercolour or a gouache or an ink or a watercolour. And also the price normally is reflected on how much pigment's in. So the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s, we all know they're gorgeous, they're very vibrant, they have a lot of pigment. So they have a less amount of binder and a lot of pigment. That's why they're expensive. If you go to the pound shop and you buy some watercolour pencils from there, or watercolour crayons, you'll find that for a few pounds there is a lot of binder and only a small amount of pigment. So that's why paints are expensive, and of course it's always easier to practice with cheaper paints, but you just have to be careful that normally the exact same amount of yellow and red makes that orange, but sometimes because of the binders and because of the cheaper makes, you don't always get that vibrant orange. So that's something to remember. But if you've got a good quality, so Winsor & Newton Cotman tubes, they are very nicely well pigmented, and they're in here, and they are almost as good as the Winsor & Newton Professional. Because they don't dry sticky, and that's because you've got a lot of pigment and less binder. So actually I prefer for colour books the Cotman, whether it be in the pans or in the tubes. And I have made quite a few colours with the three watercolours from the Cotman, which are student grade. So student grades are normally not so bad, and they're a good starting point. And I think I paid 99p for one tube, so I got 3 tubes for under £3. But the principle is the same. If you look at your colours, what you have, and you'll see I've done that through this. I'll show you just the basic ones I've got and how I've done it. But this is printer ink. So if you have 3 colours, you've got your pink, red for your, which is a quinacridone or a magenta. That's a pinky red. You've got a cold blue, a cyan, a very cold blue. Cobalt blue isn't quite as cold. Cyan or cerulean is better. But if you've only got cobalt blue, then you need to use cobalt blue. It's colder than a French ultramarine. The yellow in the inks, in the printer inks, is a very cold lemon yellow, Hansa yellow, very, very bright, very, very cold, bright yellow. So from these colours, you don't mix them as a traditional way because you've only got 3. So if you mix the yellow with the red, the pinky red, you're going to get orange. So you mix that orange first. So you use the cold yellow and you use the pink red, and you get a gorgeous bright orange. So that's your secondary colour. Then you want to take your cold blue and your cold yellow, and you'll get your brightest cold green. So now we want to make purple. But we can't make purple until we make French ultramarine. Now French ultramarine is not very easy. A pinky purple is not, purple blue is not easy to make. So probably buying a French ultramarine would be best. But what we do is we take the red and the cold blue, and we made a purple. Sorry, I did make a purple. So I made from my first secondary colours, from my 3 primary colours, I made my secondary colours. But I don't have a cad red, so I'm never going to get any nice browns because I've only got the purple shades. So what you do is you take your cold pinky red, your warm pinky red and your orange, and you make a cadmium red. You make it's technically not a cadmium red, but colour-wise it's a cadmium red. It's a cold red. So that's given us 2 reds. We've got a pinky red and we've got a cold red. We've got an orange red. So then we take the red, the pinky red, and we take the purple. We take the cold blue, and we make ultramarine. We make a pinky purple, a purple blue. But it all depends on these 2, how good your purple is, your purple blue is. Mine isn't that purpley. Mine's still quite a cold purple. And then what you can do is you work in between. So you have purple and French ultramarine, and you get a purple blue. You get your purple and your pinky red, your red purple. Your red purple, and you make a purple red. So that's given us 3 purples. We've got a blue purple and we've got a red purple. And you do the same with the orange. You mix the orange with the cold red and you get a reddy orange. And you mix, I haven't made the cadmium yellow yet. So what you then do is you take the orange and the cold yellow and you make a cadmium yellow. You make a warm yellow. Then you take your warm yellow and your orange, and you've got a lighter, that's also like a tangerine. So we've got a tangerine colour there, so that's your gamboge almost. And then you take your cold yellow and your green, and you've got a lemon green. You take your green and your blue and you've got a blue-green. So instantly we now have a lot more colours, just from 3. But if you didn't want to do that, I suggest you buy 6 colours. You buy a red purple, so that's magenta, quinacridone red, any pinky red. On the cold side you want a cadmium red, you want a cold red. Then you want 2 yellows, you want a cold Hansa yellow, a lemon yellow, and you want a cadmium yellow. It's not an orange, it's a yellow, but it's warm. It's a cadmium yellow. Windsor yellow, I think, is a warm yellow. And then you want 2 blues. You want a French ultramarine or an ultramarine, and you want a cerulean blue or a cobalt blue, a cold blue. So that you're buying 6 colours. So what I then did is I played with the complementary colours. Oh, bye May, thank you for popping in. So, we've got our red purple, and we've got our red orange. So if we add green, and it's just the same middle green, to our orangey red, we get all our brick reds, all our cold browns, and brick reds. If we add the same green to a pinky red, so a magenta, an aqua magenta, an aqua, I can't think of the colour I use. It'll come to me in a second. But you want a pinky warm red. You get the maroons. You get dull pinks. And you get brick reds. And these down here are these up here. They're very similar. And that's to do with the yellow. Because obviously this red's got some yellow in it. This red hasn't. So you're getting the yellow from the green. And there you're getting yellow from the green and the red. So you're going to get to your brick reds quicker. But you can still get there, but you won't get the vivid bright brick reds. So you need your cold red. The same with these dull purpley pinks. You won't get those with a cold red. It'll go from dull red to very, very dark. So you won't get this grade here if you've got your cold red. So that's why you need 2 reds. And I'll show you this one. I'll put them there when I come to them. And I did the same. So this one is complementary purple. And again, you've got the 2 yellows. So you need to buy 2 yellows. You want your warm yellow for the browns and the brick reds and the warm browns and the sand colours and the biscuit colours, all these gorgeous warm sandy biscuit colours for bricks or for hay, straw, cottages. That's these colours. These are the cold side. So here we've got some nice browns, but they're cooler. Same purple, but different yellows. So we've got some tangerine colours here. Then we've got some tan, but they're different tan from up here. These are cooler and darker and brownier than these. So then we took an orange and again 2 blues. We've got the purple blue, we've got the French ultramarine, we've got the cold blue, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, cyan. So you want a cold blue and a warm ultramarine blue. And that gives an orange. So you've got olive colours here, and you've got some nice cold browns, you've got some cool purples, some teal colours, greeny blues, grey greens, gorgeous green greys there. And on this side we've got almost mint. If you added white to there, you get mint. So these are, and there's a turquoise colour there. So these are good for seas. And these are cooler. And then you get back into you'll go into greens, whereas this one's gone into browns. And again, to complicate things, it's because the orange has red in it here and red in it here, but you're only getting red from the orange because this blue doesn't have any. So that means that these are not going to be, these are going to be cooler because they don't have the red in it, and that's why these go to greens and these go to browns, because it's the red, the warm red in the purple blue and also in the orange. So the sea colours, sometimes you've got a French ultramarine, you won't get these gorgeous sea colours because it's not cold enough. You need your cold blue. But if you buy 2 reds, 2 yellows and 2 blues, you can get every colour under the planet. So this is taking it a step further. So we've got a cadmium yellow, a warm yellow, and we've got 2 purples. I've made a cooler purple, which is also almost like a French ultramarine. If you add a bit of red to a French ultramarine, you get this pinky blue. So you get the blue. On the other side, we've got a red purple. So by adding red, we get the red purple, sorry. So the red purple is warm and the other purple is cold. But this is a warm yellow. And look at the difference. Again, we've got red here, so we've got our brick reds and we've got our browns. On this side, same amount of yellow was added to both purples. We've got some cold purples, some grey purples, some gorgeous greys, grey greens, and then we've got olives. So we now know we can take lemon yellow to purple and you will get, or add purple to this and you will get your olive colours. And if you added, so bear with me 2 seconds. So this one is, sorry, that was the cold yellow. This is the warm yellow. This is the cadmium yellow. Sorry, that was the lemon yellow, beg your pardon. So this is the cadmium yellow. Again, exact same 2 purples, but the difference, we don't get as many purples, dark purples. It goes straight into browns and brick reds. The same on the other side. Exact same purple, but we've got the different yellow. So we've got some grey greens here and we've got olive colours. So we've got some darker purples. We've got more dark purples because this is warmer. And that's because that purple has got red in it and that cadmium yellow has got red in it. This lemon yellow is cold and this is cold. So this purple only has a little bit of red in it to make it a purple blue. It's got more blue in it than red to make the purple. So we've got the colder colours, but here we've got the warmer colours. The same with the oranges. I've got a red orange and I've got a yellow orange, but I've got the cold cerulean blue. So we've got our teals and our turquoises, and we've got some nice browns and russet colours. On this side we've got better russet colours here, and we've got some colder greens. And then if we put the same red oranges, but we use a French ultramarine, so we've got a purple blue. The difference is they're duller. We don't get the bright greens, and that's because this ultramarine has got a little bit of red in it. So you're getting the red in the blue and you're getting the red in the orange. This one, there's no red in this blue, so the only warmth you're getting is from the red. Does that make sense? So then I took the red and I took the cadmium red, a cold red. Vermilion is quite cold, but it's not as cold as cad. It's vermilion. I think Windsor red's cold as well. It's not a pinky red, it's the opposite of the pinky red. And then we added a grey blue, so a greeny blue and a greeny yellow. And then we get these olivey colours and brick reds. And again, exactly the same greens, but this time I add Elysian crimson, complementary colour, and I got darker, colder greens, and I got some cooler greens up here than here. This went warmer, this stayed cool. But just with changing that colour, I've got so many more. There's nearly 60 colours there from 3 colours, both blue greens and yellow greens and 2 reds. So then I thought, right, okay then, let's do it. Let me pick out my 6 colours, because I always think it's best to buy 6 colours, and I'm going to make the colour wheel with these 6 colours. So in Derwent watercolour pencils, I chose Madder Carmine for my pinky red, and I chose Deep Vermilion for my orangey red. I chose number 2, and that was number 14 and number 19. Number 2, Lemon Yellow. And number 6 is Deep Cadmium. And then I had Spectrum Blue for my coldest blue that I could find in my set. And I had Deep Ultramarine, which is number 29. So I added these together and I got my secondary purple, secondary green, secondary orange, and then I mix these 2 together to get my tertiaries in between. And as you can see, the purple is not as bright a purple as if I'd bought a purple, so probably the purple is the only one that I would buy extra. Then I used Inktense, so I used Carmine Pink, number 10522, Scarlet Pink, which is my red orange, 0320, Cadmium Yellow, which is 0210, Sun Yellow, which is 0102, Irish Blue is my coldest, 109, and Lagoon, which is 0810, was my purple blue. And I made these colours from those, mixing these 6 together. Now I made them colour pale, and we all know Inktense pencils are not pale, so you can make it just to give me how I could do that with 6 pencils. The next one was Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolours, so I chose 32, which was my red purple. I chose 31, was my red orange, I chose N043 for my cadmium yellow, and I chose number 40 for my yellow, my cold yellow. I then had number 63 for my cold blue and 64 for my warm blue. And I used the Gansai Tambi watercolours to mix my greens, my oranges and my purples. I then did it in Peerless. I used Elysian Crimson, Scarlet Vermilion, Bright Yellow, Daffodil Yellow, Cobalt Blue and Deep Blue. And from those 6 colours of Peerless, I made all my purple pinks, all my oranges and all my secondary greens. I then used my Caran d'Ache Colour 2s. I didn't actually write the colours down. I don't know why, but I didn't. But I've got a red purple, I've got a red orange, I've got a yellow, orangey yellow, and I've got a yellow green, which is the cold yellow. I've got a cold blue and a warm blue. And again, from there, I used just those 6 colours to make my 3 greens, my 3 oranges and my 3 purples. And then if you look inside, I've gone round and I've actually got those in my set. And that's another good inclination, or it's a good way to look at a set of paints. If it has these colours in it, you know it's going to be good. So the Dr. Martens Hydrus. So I can tell you that I used I don't think I used the deep red rose because it wasn't the right red. Oh, Brilliant Cadmium Red. And I used Elysian Crimson, and I used Gamboge, and I used Yellow Hansa, Cobalt Blue and Ultramarine. So if you bought these 6 colours, if you notice my purple's not as bright, but it's still a purple, I would buy these 6 colours and then you could put the drops in to make all the others. And so from those I mix them together to make the greens, the orange and the purple, and then I mix the purple with the red to get a pinky purple. I mixed the purple and the blue to get a blue purple. I mixed the red and the orange to get an orange red. I mixed the yellow and the orange to get an orange yellow. I mixed the green and the yellow to get a pale green, and I mixed the green and the blue to get a blue green. But they all came from these 6 colours. And these are quite good because they're quite good for mixing because they come in drops. So you can put a drop of the colours together and make some pretty decent colours. I then did it in Winsor & Newton Gouache. Again, I had 2 reds, 2 blues and 2 yellows, and that actually worked quite well. I got a really nice bright, and that was to do with these colours here. Winsor & Newton watercolour pans, and they got carried away because I'm terrible when I start colour mixing. You can do colour charts, but I find them very boring, so I started them but I didn't get very far. But you can do, and again, if you want to take it that far, you can get all your olives and all your other colours. So that's how I did. And if you take into account all these colours I've made, whoops. So all my secondary colours and my primary colours mixed with complementary colours. That's all I've done. I've not mixed any other colours together. This is just mixing complementary colours and taking the colour back to its original. I think there's 630 some colours. But by the time I'd finished, and I was using printer inks, so they're not the brightest, but the colour mixing technique is the same. You want a certain warm colour to go with a certain cold complementary colour to get different effects. So just bear with me, there could be a bark alert. So I hope that made sense. That's just a very quick colour mixing with printer inks. Thank you for watching.